You know where this cabin talk would absolutely kill it? If you had all your boys here and you had guys beatboxing. I'm terrible at it, but you get the point. What is up, internet world, and welcome back to Accelerate. My name is Mike, and the man behind the camera is Ian, and today we're bringing the 2023 Honda Pilot. So the all-new Pilot is the fifth vehicle for Honda to get fully redesigned. So it's all new for 2023, and that catches up because the Civic, the Accord, the HR-V, CR-V has been totally redesigned, except for the Passport. So we're gonna talk about the all-new 2023 Honda Pilot today. It's gonna be a full in-depth review, so buckle up, boys and girls, and get excited. I'm in the all-new Honda Pilot with a V6 3.5 liter that makes 285 horsepower, up 5 horsepower, and 262 pound-feet of torque. Let's see what this bad boy does to 60. And go. .41, ladies and gentlemen. Mike did the quarter mile in 7.41. Now you must be asking yourself, why does it sound like this? Well, it has something called cabin talk, which is similar to what Kia has, except Honda launched it back in 2018 in their Odyssey. I know we're supposed to talk about times here with 7.41, but what's important is how poor and crazy and 1960s vibe this cabin talk makes me sound like. Hey guys, welcome to the movies. Make sure you guys subscribe. .27, ladies and gentlemen. 7.27. Can we get a round of applause for Mike at Accelerate for 7.27? Oh, hey there. Have you guys subscribed? Because we want one more of these bad boys on this side. We're on the road to 1 million, and we can't do it without your help. So please, please, please smash that subscribe button. It's the red little box right there. So the all-new 2023 Pilot is Honda's largest SUV. It's their most powerful, and now available in 5 different trim levels, down from last generation's 7. So we'll start off with their cheapest one at 52,731 Canadian dollars, and that is called the Sport. Then you have the EXL, the Trail Sport, which now has more off-road features that actually work compared to the Passport. And then you have the Touring, and then you have this, the Black Edition, for 64,000. What does even matter? It is so expensive that it just makes me shake my head and go Honda. You have a $65,000 almost SUV at your top form, and with tax, it's 73,000 bucks. Yeah. To the front of the all-new CR-V, because it looks exactly the same. It's strong, it's upright, it's wide, it's bold, it's masculine. Yes, it is 2023, and this is the most masculine Pilot they've ever made. Look at the headlights. They are long, and they have the signals right here now. So moving below, you will see you have functional air curtains. And now moving below the air curtains, you have fog lights, which are very, very low, which will at some point have a crack in it. Guaranteed, with all the stone chipping out there, 100%. Now moving to the center, you have this massive grille with a huge Honda logo, where all your radars are kept right behind here. But don't forget about the front camera, which we will talk about when we jump inside, to show you how poor the quality of this camera is, considering that this costs $64,000. Crazy. Nonetheless, you do have a little washer here that keeps the camera nice and clean. To the side of the Pilot, built in Alabama. Let's start with the front. Now you can see it doesn't have a short overhang. It's actually fairly long because, as I mentioned, the front hood is long. You've got 20-inch wheels, fancy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spoke, all black because this is a black edition. And behind it, on the drive, I will tell you that the brakes work very, very well. It has a 1.5 bigger rotor, and it actually brakes 25% better than the last generation. It has this hard plastic that's designed to be beaten up a little bit more. And moving up from there onto the shoulder line, you have your door handles. They're nice and big in the front and the back. And guess what? When the key's in your pocket, you can walk up to it and it will unlock And you can lock the doors simply by touching on the top here where you have these 3 little squiggly lines, which brings me to this. The biggest change of the Honda Pilot is right here. You see, you don't have windows that are closely connected like the Grand Highlander or even its previous generation. They're far and wide, which gives this gigantic C-pillar, which could create an issue when it comes to blind spots. But guess what? You have people in the back or kiddies in the back that have a window they can see out of very clearly. And also, they have more space now because this is the largest Pilot ever created. To the back of the all-new Pilot. Now I will tell you, if you bought a front-wheel drive version in America, you can tow 3,500 pounds, but here in Canada it's only available all-wheel drive and it tows a whopping 5,000 pounds. Now the Pilot weighs 4,660 pounds, so it can tow about 400 pounds than it weighs. Now how about the design of the rear end? I will tell you, it's actually a lot more domestic than Japanese now. It's just a little bit more Alabama-ish, if you ask me. Now, if we start at the top, you can see it has a body-colored shark fin. I wish it was black. It would kind of match all the black, piano black vibe we got going on at the top. And if you look at this third brake light and the spoiler that's attached to it, it's very boxy and cut-off square type design. Now, I like how you have this wiper here. Kidding. It should really be underneath here so that's out of the way so that Canadians like us don't break it when you have all this snow sitting packed on it. It's just very typical in the SUV business. Everybody seems to want to put it here, but for me, it needs to be tucked underneath like a Range Rover. And moving down from that, you have the Honda badge that is not blacked out. However, you do have the Pilot that is blacked out, along with this black trim that's behind it. Now, when you come to the taillights, you do have this sort of crab style design. It's just not really my style, but it is what it is. You have the all-wheel drive in black, which is weird why you don't have the Honda badge in black. And then you have the black edition letting you know that you're the top dog in the Honda Pilot trim level. Moving below, you have the black plastic sort of, designed to be durable. And then you have these chrome tips, which is also kind of weird considering it is a black edition Honda. Come on. Yes, they're fakies, but it's all good, but they point down. 2023. So let's open up the tailgate of this Honda Pilot. You have a button here, but only a singular button. You don't have the capability to lock the vehicle with the key in your pocket from the trunk area. You can only raise and lower, and you can set the height of this tailgate. Voila, look how large this is. This is the largest Pilot ever made. Now, something to note is that all Pilots are sold as an 8-passenger. They're always 3 rows, but you can actually remove the middle of the second row and actually store it right here. It's not really like stow and go, but it can fit right here. So there's storage there. You can use it for a few things, but namely is the storage of the second row middle seat right there. That's pretty cool. There's even instructions to tell you how to do it. Center seat storage and a full diagram. Now, in terms of durability, on the back of this load floor panel here, you have this material, and this is designed to have lots of dirty stuff sitting right on top. That is a good idea right there. Voila. It has the same handle as it does on the other side, so it is reversible. That is good. And also, when I move this out of the way, as you can see, you have different compartments left and right to actually separate different items in the back here, left and right. And then as far as storage, when you have this right on top, well, you have a very, very small tray here, but you have a deeper tray on the other side. And then above that, you have a button here that is to close the tailgate. In case you have little ones that cannot reach it, you have a button here for them. And next to it, you have a cigarette plug that can have up to 180 watts worth of power being put out. Now, one thing manufacturers miss is this little light right here. A lot of the times you're in the back here, you don't have light. Thank God Honda, you put it back there. Now, I wish it did have an on and off switch, but hey, it's only activated when the trunk is open. I have everything off in the car, all the doors are closed, all the lights are off, and this one is still on. So that's good. They thought about it all the way through in terms of continuity. So the question is, how much room do you have behind the third row? Well, let's measure it up. From the back of the third row to the sill, you have 20 inches. How about width? Well, you have just under 47. Not enough to fit a sheet of drywall, but still 47 is a good width. They could have probably just tightened it up a little bit more here and you would have been able to fit a sheet of drywall or plywood. How about putting the seats down? Well, I pull this handle, simply easy enough, and it folds right flat. There's nothing power about the Pilot. Nothing is powered, it's all manual. And the seat does recline really far back. I will show you that when I'm in the back, but when I'm here, I can show you it goes really, really back and different increments. That's pretty cool. There we go. voila, you can recline in the back of your Pilot. Now with the third row folded down, how much room do you have from the second row back? Well, I have 48 inches. Voila, that is a good size. Thumbs up, Honda Pilot. In the third row of the Honda Pilot, now I'll say it's pretty comfortable back here. The seats are soft. It's got this fancy red stitching in between. The seats, I feel pretty good. It's designed for 3 people, 3 little people, but headroom, look how much headroom I got. It's good enough for a 6-footer back here, it's nice. But then I got this seat belt right in front of me. I guess I can just do this all day when mom's driving. Jokes aside, people complain that there's not enough venting back here. There's no roof venting, but that's okay because I have a vent right there that points straight at my chest. 2 massive cup holders. Another thing about this Honda Pilot, they talk about the cup holders and how large of a drink you can put in there. A really big Slurpee. Now from this angle you can see that the panoramic sunroof doesn't even get close to me here in the third row. I have this big massive black headliner that's going to make me feel a little bit more claustrophobic than normal. And again, you can see where the seatbelt is. It is kind of in the way. Now of course the seat is all the way forward, but when it's back it's still sort of in the way. So the person sitting back here a little bit tight. At least they, as I said, they do have a full USB, not a USB-C. Again, the vent and deep cup holders. You have this window here, but I still have to crank a little bit to see out of it. When I'm looking forward, it seems a little bit tight. The person in the middle and the person on this side's okay because they don't have the seatbelt there, but for the person sitting here where I'm sitting, this is a little bit tricky. It's just really strange. With all this experience that Honda has, they'd put something like this up here. And this is only up here really because of this stow and go seat. This would not be here if this seat was actually fixed. But the positive thing about the person in the back here is that this reclining is really, really good. However, I do have to put my hand behind here to do it. I can't do it from sitting here. I have to put my hand all the way back and then I can recline the seat all the way back. And when it's reclined, there is good room. And I do feel like I can pass out and fall asleep and be left alone on really long trips where people bother me. Good night. Second row of the all-new Honda Pilot, and this is where the Honda Pilot really shines. So we'll start off with this door panel. You do have sun blockers right there. You do have this nice trim that looks like it's all braille. Fancy. I really like that piece. Then you have Bose now, which has 12 speakers in the 2023. It wasn't available in the last model. You have 2 layers of storage. So the top layer, or the top floor, you have 2 cup holders, one for a large drink, one for a smaller drink, and a little cubby back here. Now I didn't talk about the little cubby that's in the handle, but hey, most vehicles have it, so I'm going to skip that. We'll just talk about level 1 and level 2. Level 2, more storage. You can put probably 2 full-size hot dogs in there. Now when I jump into the second row, I will tell you that the back of the seat has been totally modified for more storage. At the top here, I can fit a phone. My 14 Pro will fit right there. Then lower than that, another space for my 14. So I can fit 2 devices back here, and then of course a lot of storage in the actual seat pocket in the back as well. Now it's on both seats, not just the driver's seat or not just the passenger seat like a few vehicles out there. Now when I'm sitting here, finally the panoramic sunroof actually works and makes a difference. I wish again it came back a little bit more, but it is what it is. Now for $64,000, I will say there's a little bit more plastic than I like, and it's apparent right here in this rear center console. There's a lot of stuff going on, very minivan-like, but at least it's maybe durable. So you have 3 increments of heated seats per side. You have where you want all your air to go, fan speed. Of course, you do have a full-out plug. Now this is popular nowadays, but it's not 3-prong, it's just a 2-prong plug, which is kind of interesting to be honest. Then you have 2 full USBs, not USB-Cs. And then there's a flat floor, so there's no sort of hump in the middle, it's completely flat. And then how about the seats itself? What about the quality of the seats? Well, they're perforated, they're not cooled, they're just strictly heated, but it's a nice feel on my fingers, and they have holes, and then in the holes you have this red little dye that you can see. So it's nice. It's very similar to Acura actually. So they've pulled some Acura pieces and put it right here in this new Pilot. Front seat of the all new Pilot. Okay. Very similar to the Civic in terms of its layout a little bit. But let's start off with the door panel here, and I will tell you that the front windows are dual pane windows to make it more quiet in the cabin. Moving down, you have the same trim as you do in the back. You have 2 memory seat. You have LED lighting on the inside of the handle, so it lets you know where to put your hand when everything is dark in the vehicle. You have automatic windows on all 4 corners, and of course, again, same sort of dual level door panel in terms of storage, except with this one, you can only fit 1 cup holder here. The one in front of it's really small. It's probably just for like a small set of peanuts, nothing more than that. But again, everything else in terms of storage is exactly the same as the back seat. Now, when I move to the dash, I will tell you that there's piano black in places that I'm not a huge fan of, especially around the vents. It just looks really, really cheap. At this price point, I feel like they could use something a little bit more sophisticated like the Civic. They've used this more like this titanium rough finish. I like the way that looks on the Civic. In this one, it's just a little bit sort of not my taste. But again, you get Bose now for 2023, and you get a heated windshield on this model. When I press this button, voila, all the snow melts. Now moving throughout the dash, we have an all new heads-up display that's clear. It tells me the speed I'm driving, the speed limit on the outside road that I'm driving on. And then moving down, I have this nice large driver display that has excellent clarity, and the contrast is excellent. On the left side, I have the RPM gauge. On the right side, I have the speed, and everything in the middle is just a lot of data for my eyes to see. Now moving on, here is where the fun starts. It does have a wireless CarPlay. When you get the Sport, you get a 7-inch. When you get everything else, you get a 9-inch standard. A lot of people are hating on this thing. They would want the 12-inch from the Accord, but unfortunately you can't get it. You only get this screen, and that's where all the hate on the Pilot happens, right here. Again, you do have wireless CarPlay. If you get the Sport, you actually get wired. It's not wireless. The vents here are not like the Civic. They don't have that octagon mesh in front of it. They're just very standard, very plain, and it is what it is. And then you have these HVAC controls. Again, very straightforward, nothing crazy about them. Very easy to use. 3 rotary knobs, left, right. There's a sync button. Yes, thumbs up. I do have ventilated and heated seats in the front. The front seat are 10-way. They are very, very comfortable, and they have a black edition on the back of these headrests on the driver and passenger seat. Now again, back to the HVAC controls. Again, piano black. You have the rear on or off button here, rear settings, so you can adjust the thermostat for everybody in the back right up front. And then you have rear lock, so if the kiddies are smashing it right behind here on the center console, you can stop them from doing that. Underneath there, you have a little bit of a tray pocket. Again, kind of useless. You need to make it enough for a cell phone to fit, and you do, but it falls right out. I always find these little small cubbies that are angled down are kind of useless. You can't really put too many coins in here. Again, just like a waste of space. I feel like the design team really need to focus on stuff like this when it comes to the next generation. Then you have a flat panel here that has a wireless charger. Now moving down, you have 2 massive cup holders. Now Honda wants you to know that 8 out of 14 cup holders are so big that they can hold all the juice. Now passing that Powerade, boom. That's how it's done, baby. So now you will see the style of the shifter on this new Pilot. You got park, reverse, neutral, drive, and they're all different buttons. It's like you can close your eyes and guess now. Now encompassed around the shifter is this piano black trim, which again, not a big fan of. I feel like right here is where all the movement, all the scratches are gonna happen. All right, let's check out the storage compartment in the center console. It does have a decent padding for your elbow so it doesn't get too beat up. It is pretty deep. I've got about 4 different man purses in there, and a pen holder right there. And then as far as charging ports, there's nothing in here. It is all up top. I want to tell you something about the Telluride though. The Telluride does have a rear view mirror camera right there, and in this specific case, you don't have it. And when you want to put in reverse, you have these measly cameras. Let me show you. And last but not least is the steering wheel. This leather has a really, really nice soft feel on my fingers. It does have red stitching all the way around and has this nice piano black trim where it's supposed to be used, not on the center console. You do have paddle shifters right behind it in this 10-speed transmission that you can shift up and down. That shifts very well when you're in sport mode. You do have your volume controls on the left, the ability to actually skip songs, and then you have a little scrolly dial that lets you flip all through your different menus on the driver's display. On the right is where you have all your driver assistance buttons. You've got your cruise control, and then you have this little cute little up or down button that sets your speed. And then over here you have your distance setting, and then you have the same little scrolly thing here that you have on the left side. Very easy to use. This shows up on the driver's display, and then you have your lane keep button right here. But the most important piece, because it's freezing outside, is we have a heated steering wheel, on or off, right there, nice and easy to use, and it tells you when it's on with this little cute amber light. So two things I want to talk about. First and foremost is the all-wheel drive system. It has Honda's second generation, and it can transfer up to 70% of power to the back wheels, and then side split left to right up to 100%. And that, they say, it gives you about 30% more quicker, more efficient power to their all-wheel drive system. And then the other part is the brakes. The brakes feel very, very good, and Honda says it's 25% better than the last generation, and that is because it is 1.2 inches bigger in terms of brake rotor size. And I can feel it. It feels really, really good. And I know that because when we're doing these flybys and I'm on the brakes, flipping back around, and on the brakes and flipping back around, it feels really, really solid. Better than the Telluride. So it's important to note that this is an all-new 10-speed transmission, and it makes a difference when you're in sport and have the S button activated on your little shifter button thing here that you hit. But that's not the big news. The big news is that this is the first time Honda has launched a 3.5-liter dual overhead cam V6. The last time this happened was in the NSX, except now they lost the most important symbolic piece, which is VTEC. No more VTEC out of this, and that is because of emissions. And why that's important is when you want to hear this thing, it doesn't have that same sound. So what's getting a lot of heat on the internet right now is this new Pilot has a timing belt and not a timing chain. They've kind of gone back to the original concept because they're making it smaller and more efficient. So you have to replace the water pump and replace the timing belt every 100,000 miles, which is sort of problematic if you are on a budget and you don't want to have to do it at that time. Because remember, payments will probably end around that time, and then boom, you get another bill and you have to replace your timing belt. Now this is the Black Edition, and the Black Edition is not like the Trail Sport. This is going to be softer, more smooth, more streetable for me, and it is very, very smooth. It's comfortable, it's got heads-up display, which is new for 2023, and it's good. I feel like the drive is really good. I would say it's a little bit better than the Telluride because the Telluride is pretty much a direct competitor to this. The inside of the Telluride, though, is far better. The fact this costs $65,000 Canadian is a lot of money, in my opinion. I think that it's really a reliability push to charge that money, to say, hey, we are more expensive because we actually give you something that is more reliable than the Kia, because Kia has been getting a lot of heat in terms of reliability lately. So hey, maybe the Honda's for you, and maybe you will spend that extra money. Or maybe just things are more expensive nowadays and they feel they can get away with it. Who knows? But at the end of the day, this ride's really, really good. The interior though, who knows? So hope you guys liked this review on this 2023. Very, very brief in terms of the drive. We really hammered the inside, the quality, and all the little touches about this brand new Pilot. So if you haven't reviewed our channel before, or haven't been to our channel before, please review it and give us all the likes you can. Give us all the red smashes and subscribe to us, because the more subscribes we get, the more cars we get. Thanks for watching.